Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to talk to you guys about the new chapter of One Piece, which is on chapter 1128. This chapter right here looks like we begin a new adventure, which I'm really looking forward to. This video might be very short, if anything, so if by all means, let's just get this started right away, okay? Let's go. We have to it that Sanji, Nami, Zoro, Usopp are like going around trying to figure out what's going on because they've been fighting a lot of animals lately and they end up finding themselves in a building block territory. Like, think of it as possible Minecraft or maybe Legos, if I have to say so myself. By that time, they are trying to figure out where they're at, and unfortunately, they don't really know what location to look for. Eventually, they run into someone with, like, riding a grasshopper, a giant on a grasshopper, and we have to it, Sanji and Nami don't like bugs, which is really hilarious. That's a really funny Easter egg flashback to what we remember about them, about bugs. But other than that, we have to it that this guy is in a rush right now and can't answer the questions, but he tells them that they are on the vast land of the Sun God. Which apparently, like, I wonder who is the Sun God, because he's always been the big talk about it in Elbaf or the giant Law of the Giants whatsoever, But we have to it that Nami, Usopp, and Luffy are trying to figure out what's going on, and if you want something to eat, go over there, And we have to it that the guy warns Luffy and the others do not follow this road because Rabbit Gardens protect the Sun God's temple beyond this point, yada yada yada. But unfortunately, Nami warns the guy not to let Luffy hear that, and Luffy decides to run off because he's really excited about this. He goes like, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind?" And everyone is just like chasing Luffy, because unfortunately he's not listening and he's going crazy. And he's a guy who likes adventure, which I don't blame him for. We all gotta have a protagonist who likes to travel and look around all the time. But other than that, when Luffy is just running for his life, they end up ramming themselves into a certain wall, or I don't know. One thing for certain is that they broke into a certain mirror whatsoever, and we get to see that they end up finding themselves in a workshop location, which apparently has a sewing machine, like Lego building blocks, and by that time, we end up finding Chopper there. We have Chopper reunites with Nami, Zoro, Usopp, and Luffy, and Sanji. And we get to see that they end up wondering, like, what the heck is going on, because this is some fine craftsmanship of the Sun God. Must be very skilled. And there's so many blocks here. Sanji is trying to figure out, like, hey, this all must be plastic. What plastic? But we also see a see-through window and trying to figure out what the location is. Some funny moments here and there. But we have to it that Zoro's trying to figure out, hey, what is this thing, The giant likes to watch the animals and people trapped in the block world. I don't get it. We have to it that, like, Luffy is actually having a fun excitement out of this. Everyone else is trying to figure out if the giant is behind all this fantasy land. And Usopp was trying to ask Luffy to, like, ask the giant head on and asking Luffy's opinion, but Luffy on the other hand says, yeah, but I need to take care of the serpent first. And we have to it that there's a bunch of rats, there's some giant birds attacking Luffy and his friends, and we get to see one strange person in some kind of, like, some animal skull on his head and holding a staff or a wooden stick, and he ends up realizing, hey, what's the noise? And he ends up looking at the situation of the room that Luffy and the others are at right now and goes like, hey, what the hell are you doing? You're destroying my beloved temple. And we have to and tells everyone, we gotta run now, the Sun God is back. And then we have to Luffy in Gear 5 form ends up hitting a snake with a freaking booming dawn pistol attack with Haki, with Conqueror's Haki whatsoever, and we get to see that everyone ends up running for their lives right now, and they end up riding on a cat that they beat up in last chapter. We get to see that they're trying to figure out what's going on here and there, and Nami says, hey, I couldn't find any loot, but hey, I found a map that could help us out. Unfortunately for them, they get chased down by the guy who apparently owns the room or the place and ends up chasing them, saying, how dare you defile my beloved country, and ends up getting ready to hit them. And the giant is like, hey, the Sun God is really angry now. And the Sun God says, hey, I won't let you escape. And the chapter ends up there. So, yeah, pretty fun chapter. So if I had to explain it without a lot of detail and a lot of information, we have to it. Luffy and the group are traveling around the location that they're at. It looks like freaking Legoland or a built-up Legoland, and end up meeting a giant riding a grasshopper guy. The giant ends up warning Luffy and the others not to go to there. Luffy decides to go. They end up entering a location, finding Chopper, and they end up entering a room with a lot of like toys, possibly. I'll just call them toys, maybe, because like it's a better definition to say it, and some nice items. And we get to see that they are attacked by a bunch of animals, and of course Luffy and Zoro and Sanji, I think they make easy work of them, like no problem whatsoever. But they end up messing up the Sun God's room or place and ends up chasing after them, and the chapter ends off there. So anyways, I'm looking forward to next chapter, and hopefully it'll be a fun ride, because I believe we are now in the Elbaf arc. So yeah, until then people, I'll see you guys in the next video. So I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace out. Bye bye. Toot toot.